Hey, welcome back to Watch Your Six. We've had a lot of interesting calls from individuals wondering about investment and more specifically how their emotion ties their investment. And at Watch Your Six, we like to try to expose some of the blind spots, we call it, areas that you might not think about. So today we're going to talk a little bit about why rate of returns can be a double-edged sword. Obviously, when we invest, we want some kind of growth, right? We're trying to make money. That's the whole premise. And that's a good thing. It's noble. But it's when we want to make a little bit extra money, maybe money or yields or rate of returns that are higher than normal. So for example, let's say, your portfolio does 10% or 11%, and now you want to get to make 20 or 30%. Well, that's where a little thing we call greed comes in. And that's the tool that many people out there in the industry use to take advantage of you. What do I mean? Well, one thing you see very common in the investment world, a thing called algorithms. It's a very common tool now, and a lot of companies promote them or they promote their book, hey, this is a great way to beat the odds. And I always ask people to take a moment, take a deep breath, sit back and look at that and think about it analytically. If that individual had an algorithm that successfully helped them beat the odds and make those type of rate of returns, why would they be selling it to you to make money? Why wouldn't they just be using that algorithm to invest in their own portfolios and obviously make the kind of resources and rate of returns that they advertise? See, those are little things that show if we're not careful, sometimes we can be our worst enemy. And that's what we talk about watching your six, the blind spot. Is our greed or our desire to make more than what is customary something driving us to make unrealistic expectations and thus make decisions that can impact you negatively? So those are the kind of things that we're going to dive into. We're going to try to use common sense approaches towards that. And as a financial planning firm, give you the tools to sort of look at it objectively. Now, that's why we always recommend when you're trying to invest, meet with a professional team. Get with individuals that speak the language of the industry, but also have your best interests at heart. One key thing you're going to hear a lot about the show, we advocate for you to make sure that your financial team are fiduciaries. Those are individuals that have your best interests, not necessarily their own. And that's a key component of any qualifying factor when it comes to working with an investment company. So we strongly recommend you consider those factors when you're looking at your investments. Now, one of the best tools to have a decent rate of return is what we call compound interest. And it's a simple thing. It shows the ability, or creates the ability rather, for your portfolio to make the kind of money you might be surprised by with very little investment. A lot of times we hear from individuals say, well, I just don't have enough money to invest. Well, what's enough money to invest? To illustrate, let's say you had $100, which is less than a Starbucks coffee a day, and you invested that $100 every month. And let's, for example, use age 30. Well, if that $100 made 10% a year compounded, by age 60, that $100 a month, which wasn't a lot, will be worth over $1 million. Is $1 million a pretty good growth factor? I would say so. But we started with $100. So we use two things. We use compounded interest, and we use another very small tool called dollar cost averaging. That's the consistent investment of money over time. And those resources are a capability for you to grow your wealth. So we, again, want you to see that it's not as challenging as it is, and sometimes we make it more of a hurdle than it has to be. One of the biggest things that hold individuals back are possibly the lack of information, or also the dynamic of the information that they're gathering. Is it accurate, or does it have the type of information in place that helps them act? You'll often hear me use the term paralysis by analysis. I'm thinking about it, I may want to invest, I'm really excited about it. Let me look into some journals, let me read some books, and months go by and nothing's happened. Well, as I just illustrated a moment ago, even with small numbers, you can invest successfully and have sizable gains. So we want you to think about the end of this episode. We want you to really consider two things. One, is your emotion driving your investment? And two, are you your worst enemy? And if those two things are hurdles for you, make sure you overcome those with the right information. And we hope this finds a resource for you to be useful when it comes to investing. And we hope to see you out there in the market and doing the things that are going to make you successful. So once again, I'm Jason Edwards, and thank you for watching your six.